and enjoying ourselves. And let me make sure we got, as far as the audio input correct, we got that going today. So hopefully you can hear us and you're enjoying the podcast. And if you can't, we want to make sure that you're good to go. But because I know the other day we had a little bit of an issue. So anyway, glad to have you. Today we are in Wausau. We are broadcasting live at Dwayne's Cover It All, and that is in Wausau. And a good friend who has my boat here, does a lot of different things up here in the Wausau area. We are brought to you by our friends at Bud Light Seltzer. Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably, 5-step filtration process, all different types of flavors. You can go to budlight.com. That's budlight.com and see for yourself what it is Bud Light has to offer. So first and foremost, we've got a lot to get to today in this period of time. First and foremost, we're going to talk about Green Bay Packers. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers' comments. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers' contract. There's a lot of misnomers that are out there. There's some speculation today about what may or may not transpire regarding Aaron Rodgers. I want to get to all of you saying hello. I want to say hi to Jared. I want to say hi to K-Sherb, also Brett. How are we looking? So, but first, I do want to show you around a little bit and at least let you take a look at what's out here as far as our good friend up here in Wausau. Dwayne's got his dogs here, as you can hear in the background. And today we're going to be here about an hour's worth of the program today. We also are going to talk about some of the free agents the Packers have coming up. We're also going to talk about today is the day that they memorialize Hank Aaron, who, by the way, after the medical examiner did take a look at Hammer and Hank, he said he did not pass because of COVID. So that was good news. And in addition to that, we are going to talk a little bit about his life and my experience. The one time that I really had a chance to sit down and get to know Hank Aaron, we're going to talk about that. And then a year ago today was also a very surreal experience because myself, Erica, who works with us, and Mike Clemens, we were getting ready for Super Bowl last year down in Miami when word broke that Kobe Bryant passed, and that was 1 year ago today. So anyway, long story short is we are glad to be back, and thanks to those of you viewing us on many of the different channels. You can find the YouTube channel. I encourage you to click there and check out the YouTube channel, and if you could, get in touch with the show that way, which is a fantastic way to pay attention to us. You can subscribe to us over on YouTube. You can just find it under simply Bill Michaels. You can also find us on many of the platforms. You got Twitch, you got obviously Facebook. If you're watching us on Periscope, which is part of Twitter still, I mean, there's plenty of different platforms that we are on. And I also want to say thanks to our friends from Epoxy Flooring Done Right. Sean and the gang over there have been doing my floors and your floors and many floors throughout the upper Midwest for a long, long time. Go to epoxyflooringdoneright.com. That's epoxyflooringdoneright.com. So let's start first and foremost, obviously, the repercussions coming out of the NFC Championship game and what was being said. I mean, the number one thing people are talking about is whether or not Matt LaFleur took the ball out of the hands of Aaron Rodgers, and should he or should he have not done that. I think we can all, the consensus is obviously he shouldn't have done that. He should have given the ball to Aaron Rodgers and let Aaron Rodgers take another stab at it. You can analyze and break down, yeah, Aaron Rodgers could have run for either a touchdown or at least put it a hell of a lot closer to the goal line had he taken off and run with the ball. Obviously, trying to get it to 3 times on one trip down into the end zone to Devontae Adams didn't work out well. When you know you had Alan Lazard open over the middle. So that was another area of consternation. Kevin King's play, certainly after going back and rewatch. I said that yesterday. I tweeted it out. I went back and rewatched that game. And watching that game, it was you couldn't have had a worse game for Kevin King had you tried. And he became a human highlight reel. If you were watching ESPN, if you're watching the NFL Network, if you're watching Fox Sports, if you're watching NBC Sports, CBS, whatever it happened to be, he was a human highlight reel. If they were showing the scoring Leonard Fournette, pass over the top, whatever it happened to be, it was always Kevin King who seemed to be giving it up. So Kevin King had about as bad a game as you could possibly have. So that being said, we could talk a little bit more about that. I know there's some questions about whether or not Mike Pettin will be back. We'll get into that discussion. But today we're going to talk a lot about some of the Packers, the more notable Packers that are going to become free agents. And then word breaks from Mike Florio of NBC Sports that sources tell him that Aaron Rodgers is seeking a new deal. Now, remember, Aaron Rodgers. Now let me give you this, okay? It says quarterback Aaron Rodgers sending a loud message. We all know that. He should want a new contract. He makes $33.5 million this year. He's going to win the MVP. I think we can all agree on that. Next year, he's due $22.35 million. And in 2021, 25.5, in 2022, 22 or 25.5 as well. So here's the thing. When you talk about all of that, that's base salary. When you talk about the money that actually hits the cap, it's going to be over 30 million easily. But Rodgers, who currently ranks 5th in average new money behind Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes making 45, Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson making 39, Russell Wilson at 35, and Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger at 34. He earns the same amount as the Rams' Jared Goff, which means that Rodgers is grossly underpaid. Base salary, I completely agree. But here's the thing with all of this salary stuff and the MVP and how good I completely agree. Aaron Rodgers, by far, one of the best quarterbacks in all of football, if not ever, to pick up a football. Okay, you can certainly put him with what he's been capable of doing up there with the Unitas's and Joe Montana's and Tom Brady's. And doesn't have the same amount of rings, but you understand quarterback-wise what he is. But you can't be the highest paid every year. Now, if he does, say, get a new deal, he gets a renegotiated contract, if that's the direction that he decides to go in, it could end up giving the Green Bay Packers some cap relief, okay? Because he's going to count this year, what is it, 36 million? 36.5, or excuse me, 37.5 million against the cap this year, 36.5 million against the cap next year. Now, if they would decide to let him go this year, this offseason, if they wanted to trade him away, it's a pretty large cap hit. It's almost 18 million, 17, 18 million dollars. You're not going to have that kind of dead money laying around. And then obviously coming up in 2020 or 2021, it would be or 2022, it would be like 2.8 million. So it's more feasible that in a couple of years, if you stick with the current contract, that's when you would let him go, is after next season, if you're going to move on from him and then get into the Jordan Love era. However, Aaron Rodgers has stated time and again that he wants to remain a Green Bay Packer. He wants to stay here for a long, long time. He wants to end his career here. He's coming off of an MVP season. The question then becomes, if you're Brian Gutekunst and you're sitting there, you traded up to get Jordan Love. Do you renegotiate the deal with Aaron Rodgers, thus telling Jordan Love, you're going to be a professional backup, or we're going to trade you away? Or do you tell Aaron Rodgers, coming off of an MVP season, yeah, we're done with you after next year? You know, I mean, that's what this comes down to. That's what this is. It's going to be that stalemate of, and then Aaron Rodgers can say, you know what, the hell, let me out. Let me out. Now, he doesn't want to retire. Okay, he's not going to retire. He's not, because some suggested, well, he's going to walk away. No, he's not. For two reasons. One, he would still be property of the Green Bay Packers unless they would trade him, and they're not going to do that because it would salary cap hell the team for the upcoming season. They just can't afford to do that. He's not going to walk away and sit for a year to get dealt. That's not going to happen. You're not at 37, 38 years old. You're not going to do that. You're not going to get out of football and then come back to football. So, that being said, you figure Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Green Bay Packer regardless next year for sure. But now the question becomes whether or not he'll renegotiate his deal. Rodgers has a cap number in excess of $30 million coming up, but a new contract could easily reduce that, and a new deal would reflect the team's commitment to him over the next few years based on guaranteed payments and the cap consequences arising from cutting or trading him. If Rodgers officially asks for a new contract, he's definitely going to get one thing: clarity as to where he stands. And this is right out of the NBC Sports and Pro Football Talk. A new deal means renewed vows between himself and the Green Bay Packers. No new deal means the clock begins ticking. If you want to chime in, you can email us, get a hold of me on Twitter, get a hold of me on Facebook, many different places, over on YouTube as well. And you know what, Kay Sherb, I'm glad to be back. Thanks for taking a listen. Brett says, how are we looking? Tom says, great to hear you. Corey says, welcome back. Jared says all that same stuff too. And I appreciate it. Susan also, thanks so much. And many of you chiming in right now. So the question becomes, Eric Branchek, my buddy, watching up in Green Bay, says, shut. Um, anyway, Andrew says, now that he's here, but happy birthday shout out to Bob Euchre, which, by the way, we're going to get into coming up here in the program today. This one's from Jacob. Jacob writes in Wendy's email inbox. I should say, it's my email inbox, but we'll get it sponsored by somebody real soon. This one is from Jacob, who said, I think Aaron Rodgers wants to come back to Green Bay. Do you think that he's going to get the new contract and end his career here? I would like to see it. I think, look, I don't know what they're going to do with Jordan Love. I don't know. Here's the best way I can describe it is back when Brett Favre was kind of going back and forth, and Aaron Rodgers fell to me. Back then, I attended a lot more practices, and others attended a lot of practices as well. They said, man, this Aaron Rodgers kid, this guy's good. This guy, we could see it, okay? We could just see it. When he would run scout team, when he would run drills, you could just see. Favre would kind of go through the motions, and you knew Favre was good, okay? I'm not saying that Brett Favre wasn't, but you knew Favre was good, okay? So when they would run the drills, when they would do scout team and stuff, Aaron Rodgers had something. And you thought, you know what, if he's half as good as he's showing right now, he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's brilliant. He's unbelievably smart. And sure enough, we saw that. What I'm hearing is not that Jordan Love's a bad quarterback. It's just that Jordan Love is not on that same level. So I don't know how you can commit to Jordan Love knowing that he's not on that same level. If you do, if you think Jordan Love has progressed to the point that after next season, he's ready to take over this franchise and he's on his way to a Hall of Fame career, you do it. Otherwise, in my opinion, you push every chip you have to the middle of the table over the next couple of years and say we're going for it. That's the corner that Brian Gutekunst is backing into right now. Because think about this. You've got Aaron Jones, Corey Linsley, Robert Tonyan, Alan Lazard, Jamal Williams, Shannon Sullivan, Will Redmond, Montrevious Adams, Kevin King, Mercedes Lewis, and Lane Taylor, all free agents this coming season, this coming offseason. All of them free agents. You got to pay somebody. So you know you need cap space, right? If Aaron Rodgers can get a new deal, that's going to give you a lot of cap space. And that allows you to then push those chips in the middle of the table. Remember, if he ends up counting $37.5 million against the cap, okay, if he ends up counting $37.5 million and the cap is being rolled back, he will end up taking up 15 to 17%, maybe more, of the team's total salary cap space. And I say it again, no quarterback in the history of the NFL has ever won making more than 13% of the team's total salary cap. So, and I haven't taken a look at this year's competitors, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, but I know the Mahomes deal gives you the base of 40-something, but I think they restructured it. I'll have to take a look at it. But yeah, as of right now, as we sit here today, no quarterback has made more than 13% of the team's total salary cap and has won a Super Bowl. So you would figure that if you're indeed going for it and you want to put this team back into the NFC Championship game and ultimately into a Super Bowl, you're going to have to restructure that without a doubt. A couple other things to get to when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Don't you think a lot of Aaron Rodgers' comments are frustration and the number of players that are free agents? That's from Tom. Yes. Here, Aaron Rodgers' comments. Okay, let's start there. Aaron Rodgers' comments. He was brilliant in what he said. Okay, he said when asked a couple of weeks ago about his future, it was a beautiful mystery because he's in the driver's seat. He's playing extremely well. He doesn't know where it's going to be. He doesn't know where he's going to be, but he holds a lot of it out. Okay, beautiful mystery. He's correct. And he's very eloquent with words. We all know. But when it comes to the comments made on Sunday after the game, Aaron Rodgers, he just basically said, look, I'm going to take some time. I don't know what my future holds. He's right. He doesn't know what his future holds. He doesn't know if he's going to restructure the contract. He doesn't know if he's going to end up on a one-year deal, basically. play one more year for the Packers. It's going to be a year that they're going to not have a lot of money to spend. It's going to be probably a down year, and he's going to have to just play out the end of that contract and then go on somewhere. And then the Jordan Love year and anything big. He doesn't know. So for those that jumped on it and said he's going to demand a trade, he can't. Because if the Packers trade him away, a lot of that money comes due. He would cripple the team going into this. And for all the speculation, he's going to end up out in L.A. He's a Cali kid. And shut up. God, it just pisses me off. Because maybe eventually he could end up out there. If indeed he has to come back and play one more year for the Green Bay Packers, sure, he could end up out there. They can move him. Absolutely. But this year, I can't see a scenario in which that happens. And Aaron is not the kind of guy that's going to demand the trade or retire. He just isn't going to do that. I think the most likely scenario is he wants a new contract. Renegotiate my deal. Let's give some salary cap adjustment to this team. Let's keep some players. Let's bring in some players. Let's do this thing again. We are so close we can smell, right? Maybe upgrade the secondary. Maybe upgrade the running back position if indeed Aaron Jones walks. I mean, think about where they're going to have to draft this year, okay? You're going to need another wide receiver. What are you going to do with Robert Tonyan? He's earned some money. Robert Tanyan's going to get a bonus. So he's earned some money. So he's going to go ahead and find himself, whether it's with the Packers or somebody else. I mean, Robert Tonyan, you got a guy like Lane Taylor, unfortunately ended up tearing that bicep. He was making $5.5 million. Corey Linsley making $8.5 million. And he's going to get paid. Corey Linsley's going to get paid. But when you look at Robert Tonyan was making $660,000. He's got a few million in him. So he's going to get an upgrade, Robert Tonyan. So you're going to probably need a tight end. Xavier Lewis, another guy that may come back on a one-year deal. We'll wait and see because he's really liked in that locker room. Then you're going to need, like I said, the wide receiver. You're going to need probably more offensive line depth if indeed you let Corey Linsley walk. Lane Taylor would be gone. You're going to have some guys kind of jumbled around a little bit. And you can never have too many offensive linemen. You can never have too many defensive linemen. You win games in the trenches. You just saw that. Okay? Then you're going to need a linebacker. Then you're going to need another corner. Probably a safety. You're going to want to fortify all of those positions. So I say it every year. It's a big draft. It's a big draft this year, not because you have to draft for need, but because you have to draft the best available and stockpile talent. The one thing you don't need a blanking quarterback. There you go. We are, again, broadcasting live out here at Dwayne's Cover It All in Wausau. And take a look around. I wanted to show you this just because they do such good stuff out here. They're great people. My boat is out here, but he does everything from office furniture and office chairs and such. And there's his buddy Gus. Kind of following me around, actually. But as my boat's getting some work done out here. I'm getting a new bimini top on it. I'm getting a new cover on it. I'm getting a new floor covering put in it. But that's just to look around the shop. They do great work, whether it's office furniture, office chairs, weight room and equipment, whatever it happens to be. They can do it out here. They're really, really, really good people. And right now they're doing a ton of office furniture because, a lot of businesses are shut down right now. That's right there is where I'm doing the show today at this setup right here in the back table. But they do a ton of stuff out here. And you can find them if you want to. And you want to send, and they take it from all over the place. But all you got to do is go to dwaynescoveritall.com. That's dwaynescoveritall.com. And if you're an office company, if you're a doctor's office with either therapy, furniture, waiting room furniture, whatever it happens to be, anything like that, they can do it here. I've even known gyms to say get their weight benches and stuff redone. So they can do all of that out here. So if you want, send your stuff out here to our buddy Dwayne's Cover It All up here in Wausau. So some really good stuff. Anyway, a couple of different things, and I got a lot of people that I want to say hi to because there's so many people that are chiming in. This is awesome. Let's see here. This was from Andrew who says, aren't there some Super Bowl ring chasers out there that they can get for a discount? Here's the thing to think about. Because the salary cap is going to go back, there's going to be some higher dollar players, some veteran players that are probably going to get let go in some of these situations. You may be able to find them on the cheap out there in the open market coming this offseason, especially if you do let Corey Linsley go, let Aaron Jones walk, renegotiate Aaron Rodgers' contract. So you're going to have that ability out there, without a doubt. This one's from Steve, who says, do you have faith in the coaching staff and the general manager? That's a great question. I have faith in both. I mean, think about some of the people that the GMs picked up. I mean, you can't throw Goody under the bus because of Jordan Love pick. I would have liked to have seen Patrick Queen. I would have liked to have seen Jefferson. I would have liked to see many, see Lamb. I would have liked to have seen many of these other guys that were out there trade up and get a wide receiver. When you traded up, Patrick Queen was sitting there. He would have looked great throwing the middle for the Packers this year. So many different scenarios. But he's picked up guys along the way that have worked out. You know, now I think Elkin Jenkins is a mole. I think he has been a tremendous asset. I think guys like Rashawn Gary, who we saw come on this year, even like Travius Adams came on a little bit this year. You know what I mean? Darnell Savage Jr. I mean, he had, from the time about the 10th week from week 10 on, he's had a hell of a season. You know, and this defense, yeah, they did not perform up to snuff in the NFC Championship game. They also got put in some precarious positions. Obviously, the one thing, I know Mike Pettin, I said this after the game, Mike Pettin, I'm sure, has schooled Kevin King 100 times, 200 times. Never, in the waning moments of a half or at the end of the game, never let anybody get behind you. Why Kevin King is watching the backfield and watching Tom Brady rather than watching his guy fly past him, I have no idea. I have no idea. And that's on Kevin King. So Kevin King gave that up. He had a terrible game. And not to mention the fact that not only was it highlighted, and now he's kind of the punchline by many national pundits when it comes to playing defense or who to throw at in the National Football League, but also he's been an injury waiting to happen. So Kevin King, as far as his payday coming up, it's not going to be what I think he was thinking it might be. I think his value is a lot less just because his durability. I mean, even if he was really solid, his durability is just not there on a consistent basis. So I think he has lost quite a bit of money, without a doubt. Lazard could get paid. He's not going to get a ton though. And just an FYI, I know Brett says, you know, what about a guy like Lazard? I don't think he's going to get paid a lot, but you know what? He proved to be a really good route runner. Aaron Rodgers enjoyed him. This one from Penelope says, Bill, is it true that Aaron Jones turned down a contract that would have put him in the top 5? I don't know what the numbers were. And I think you're talking about Aaron Jones rather than, okay, yes. I think you're talking about Aaron Jones. I don't know. I don't know what the exact number was, but it wasn't the number. It would have given him, I think it was short term. He wanted a longer term deal. And that's where it kind of broke down. How can Rodgers want to go back? The Packers drafted a quarterback, and the coaching staff said point blank, we have no trust in you in the 4th and goal situation. Let's kick 3. Either way, you have to trust your D. If you can, look, Phil, 100% I agree with you. I think 2 things. It was a bad move. Matt LaFleur went with whatever the analytics told him, and when the rest of the world knew, it's the dumbest thing you can possibly do. But in the moment, he went with the analytics sheet, kicked the field goal. Okay, whatever. Dumb move. But I agree with you about kicking the field goal because all the reasons you still had to play defense, you still needed a touchdown. You're still putting it didn't make sense. And then I know that some of the people are saying, what about an onside kick? You don't risk it because the onside kicks have become so one-sided when it comes to the opposing team recovering that statistically doesn't make sense, because if you give Tom Brady the ball at the 40, 45-yard line, it's a couple of passes there in field goal range and you pretty much put it out of distance. You know what I mean? You'd much rather kick it and hopefully they run it back or put them on the 15, put them on the 10, put them on the 20, make them go those extra yards to at least attempt to put points on the board. Hopefully you get a couple of stops, but it just didn't work out that way. But the drafting of the quarterback, of Jordan Love. We've been covering this. I don't think we really need to get into it again and again and again. I look at it as they were doing something just in case, protecting the franchise. They've got it sitting there on the shelf now with a lot of dust on it like a white elephant. You know what I mean? This is the beauty of doing a podcast. It's continuous. There isn't any commercial, you know? So I think some people say, well, did it inspire him? I don't think it inspired him. I think it was just another chip that Aaron Rodgers could put on his shoulder and say, I didn't have the year I wanted to have. People are saying that I'm done and I'm looking old. You know, Matt LaFleur ran a different style of offense, and they got knocked off in an NFC Championship game. And, you know, all the people that want to throw darts at a guy who is on top. I mean, look how much a guy like, say, Dan Marino had to endure. Dan Marino was one of the best quarterbacks to ever throw a football, right? Had an unbelievable downfield game. Mark Super Duper was one of his wide receivers, and it was just a thing of beauty to watch those two guys connect, okay? It was like Montana and Rice. Rodgers has made great receivers out of a lot of people. Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, James Jones, even Jermichael Finley. You know, he took a guy like Alan Lazard, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's really come on. He's made those guys look really good, too. Those have been really good combinations. He's been a terrific quarterback. But every time you lose an NFC Championship game, they say, well, look at his record. He's 1-4. Okay. He's taken his teams there. And I think if you really look at each individual loss, go back to 2014. That wasn't his fault. Play calling in the third quarter slowed it down. After that, it was a lot of different calls. It was Julius Peppers telling Montgomery to go down. It was Clay Matthews pulling himself out of the game. Micah Hyde not knowing to go on a 2-point conversion. You know, I mean, you know, Bostic going up and getting a ball on a kickoff on an onside kick and not allowing Jordy Nelson to field it and fall on it and end the game. You know, so there's so many things going back to 2014. Go back to the year that they went to Atlanta to an NFC Championship game. They had no business being there. They got there because Rodgers, playing on a torn calf muscle, willed them there against Dallas, and threw that unbelievable pitch and catch to Jared Cook on the sideline and set up that long field goal for Mason Crosby to put him there. A beautiful thing of beauty, but they had no business being there at that point. Last year, you just knew what the outcome was going to be. And the one thing I have to admit, and I picked the Packers to win this past Sunday, and shame on me, because I always forget that when you have a team that's more physical than you are in the regular season, that just flat out just beats you, whoops your ass, and downs you, right? You don't get more physical throughout the season. Unless they get less physical due to injury, you don't get more physical. They beat you. They're stronger. They're faster. You can't suddenly get stronger and faster over the next 5, 7, 8 weeks of a season and come back and beat a team like that. Usually it's a really hard-fought, close game, and you may win because of a turnover or something lucky that breaks your way, or you're going to get your ass beat. And the Packers' offensive line didn't have an answer again for the speed and power of that pass rush that Tampa Bay possessed. They just did. And then you knew they were without David Bakhtiari in this past game. I mean, Aaron Rodgers got beat up. 5 sacks. Gave it up, man. Rushed, I think, 2 or 3 more times. So, I mean, it was a hard-fought game. And the Packers, I give them credit for moxie. I give them credit for coming back. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that they didn't quit. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to walk away. He's going to sit down. He's going to go to the Malibu beach house or wherever he needs to go. He's going to sit on the balcony, watch the whales go by, contemplate the universe and all the things that he so deeply thinks about, maybe play a little guitar, write a song or two. And then he's going to say, okay, renegotiate the contract, make a commitment to me. I want to remain a Green Bay Packer. I want to end up there. Give us some salary cap space. You get a little breathing room. Bring in some weapons that we can go to the next step. David's going to be coming back, Bakhtiari. Give us some more weapons offensively. Go bolster that defense just a tad bit more, and we're good to go. Now, I'm getting a lot of, do you think Mike Pettin is back? Here's the question with Mike Pettin, okay? And this is a legit question. Does Mike Pettin come back? What we talked about for the last couple of years is get that team to a top 10 defense. Well, they were top 12 in many categories. They've continued to ascend. So now that everybody's got it, do you cut the guy loose that was calling the plays upstairs? Or do you just go out and get a couple of pieces that are going to fit a little bit better? You know what I mean? What are you going to do? I don't know if it's kind of like, you know the enemy you have, you don't know what's coming in, and you don't know how long it's going to take to absorb it. You know? I would be leery of running out and changing defense. I mean, they may. I mean, and it may get better. It very well could. Who knows? But I don't, if you're going to throw Pettin out, you have to have a legitimate reason as to why. Well, his teams gave up yards. Yeah, but towards the end of the season, they were giving up 17 points a game. That's going to win you a lot of games. Well, the biggest game and the biggest moment, they gave up 32, 31. Yeah. Packers offense also turned the ball over a couple of times, put themselves in precarious positions. You know? I mean, Aaron Jones' last carry as a Green Bay Packer, maybe a fumble. So, and a fumble in his own territory. It was a short field for Tom Brady. Packers defense gave up points, but, hey, look, special teams gave up points this year. They were probably worse. I mean, if I'm going to do anything, I might make a change at special teams. It might not be defense. Let's see here. What else do we have? Will Bakhtiari be able to come back next year with his injuries? Chris and Cindy say Mike Nolan if he's available. No. Coming out of the Mike McCarthy defense that just absolutely sucked in Dallas? No. Mike Nolan, he should have never gotten that job. Mike McCarthy did him a favor and wasted a year of that team's defense, and that's a shame. Going back to the Bakhtiari question, I don't think he'll be ready come the beginning of the season, but probably by October, he'll probably be ready to go. The thing about it is with ACLs and MCLs and such and those surgeries, they have gotten so much better, and recovery time has been so much better. But as a lineman, because you're using that center of gravity, your base, and you really need strength and stability, they usually take a little bit longer. So I would probably say October before he's back. But you know what? You win a lot of games early on in the season. You win 3 out of 4 to start your season in September, and then he comes back and solidifies the offensive line. He's good. It's going to take him a little while to get his feet under it. But yeah, I mean, he'll be back probably by October. What about Jim Leonard for defensive coordinator? Tom, I don't think Jim wants to leave Wisconsin. I wouldn't be a negative towards that. I wouldn't say no. The guy's obviously got NFL experience. He knows what he's doing, no doubt. But every time Jim Leonard's name has come up, you get people out in Madison that say, yeah, he's really, really happy being in Madison. So I don't know if Jim Leonard would be a viable answer for the Green Bay Packers as their next defensive coordinator, because I don't know if he would want to leave Wisconsin. There's something to be said for the life of a college coach. They work long hours, they travel, all that kind of stuff. But some guys just like working with the younger players, And Leonard has found his home. That's his deal. This is from Scott, who says his style of defense doesn't work against physical teams, meaning Mike Pettin. Well, you got to have physical players to take on physical teams. This is what I'm talking about. Tell me who your most physical player is. Most physical player on the defense. You had a pretty good hitter in Savage. You had a really good scout nose tackle in Kenny Clark. Zadarius Smith. Rashawn Gary is a physical player. He's a bull rusher. Okay, that guy's, and he's going to get better. So I have to admit, as a first-round draft choice, I was not thrilled. But this year I saw Rashawn Gary come on, and I saw what he could be. So if he continues to be that guy, that he continues to get bigger and stronger and push people around, yeah, he's not going to be a big sack master. That's not his forte, okay? But pushing guys into that backfield, collapsing the pocket, making quarterbacks uncomfortable, cutting off cutback lanes or cutback ability for running backs, that's what Rashawn Gary can do. Plus, it freed up Zadarius Smith to move inside and outside because they had versatility. So I do like that. So that he's a physical player. Preston Smith had a down season. We didn't see him play near. Now, think about this. Preston Smith goes cyclically. Okay? This year, not a great year. Last year, really good year. The year before that, not a great year. The year before that, really good year. So you would expect he goes away, comes back, fired up, ready to go. This would be his really good year season. If indeed he still has that left in the tank, so to speak. Let's see here. K-Sherp says, what is your take on why the Packers kept Jordan inactive for most of the year? Because Tim Boyle knows the offense. And because they saw what a lot of others saw behind closed doors. I mean, when I talked to Mike Clemens, God, this was a while ago, we talked a little bit about Jordan Love. And Mike said to me both on the air and off the air, he's not ready. You know, Aaron Rodgers came in, he's a brilliant guy. When he took over, he knew it. And you could see it. He was ready. Jordan Love, not ready. He's not ready. Strong arm, good kid, but not ready. Just wasn't ready. What the heck, Bill? You're in a broom closet. No, I'm not, Sean. I'm here at Dwayne's Cover It All. We are in Wausau, as a matter of fact, and I'll show you a little bit about where we're at. I'll show it to you again. For those that are just tuning in, we're at Dwayne's Cover It All. We're in Wausau, Wisconsin. If you need anything done, whether it's the likes of, there's this buddy Gus right there. It's my boat over here in the giant shed that they have, or the giant workspace, getting a new cover put on it. But whether it's boat covers, boat upholstery, office chairs, office furniture, if you need weight equipment for, say, a gym completely redone, remodeled, refashioned, high schools could do this. If you need it done at a pretty decent cost rather than buying all new equipment, they do everything. So go to or see our buddy at Dwayne. Dwayne's Cover It All here in Wausau, right there. The website is on the screen. Go to Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That is Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com, and see for yourself. Really, really good stuff. So there you go. So what else do we have here for you? Because we're about 37 minutes into this. I'm enjoying it. Totally you are as well. I appreciate everybody paying attention to it. Christopher, thanks for saying hello. Brett, thanks for saying hello. Tom, the same. And all of you who are watching. And we got quite a few viewers today. That's really cool. I really, really like that. I appreciate everybody paying attention to it. We're going to continue to do these, okay? I got another one coming up on Thursday. Might have a special guest with me on Thursday, okay? Just so you know. But keep looking back to many of these channels. You'll see a notification go up. It'll tell you the time on Thursday, but we're going to do another one on Thursday. And then maybe an NFC a Super Bowl championship preview coming up on Sunday. But we'll get more of these going as time goes on. And if you want to sponsor and you want to touch base with us, great way to do so. Right there on the screen, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Again, we are brought to you by our good friends at Bud Light and Bud Light Seltzer. Unquestionably good. Also, our friends at Quick Trip, and I can't say thanks enough to them for sticking with us and hanging with the podcast as well, and putting their money where their mouth is. It's always good. We're speaking of your mouth. If you're going to head into Quick Trip, they have unbelievable pothole pizzas, hot sandwiches. They've got those chicken tenders. I've been telling you, their fried chicken's out of this world. They've got those take-home heat meals. The bakery, we all know, is awesome. If you haven't had their donuts yet, I don't know what rock you've been living under. But they have everything inside a Quick Trip, especially with the kind of weather we've got outside right now. At least in this area. When I left today, my house down near Milwaukee, we had about 5 to 6 inches on the ground when I left at about 5:30 this morning. When I got to Wausau, they had a lot of snow up here. It wasn't snowy, but they already have a lot of snow on the ground up here. I know the snowmobile trails up in Tomahawk are opening up. I saw Rib Mountain when I drove past it today. A lot of people skiing on Rib Mountain today. So a lot of good winter sports now in full gear. Is most of the state anyway is blanketed with at least more than a few 3-5 inches of snow. So get out and enjoy yourself. And if you're going to do it, you want to warm up, give a thing of hot chocolate or coffee or whatever happens to be the Karuba coffee over there. Stop in and check out our friends at Quick Trip. Again, we are brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of my show. Also, our friends at Bud Light Seltzer. We appreciate them as well. So, So I got a couple things I wanted to, a couple other things I wanted to get to. This one's from, this is from Mark K. Mark K is watching this right now in Hilo, Hawaii. Says aloha, and he says Packers fan, transplanted here years ago, best move I ever made. I get a chance to work from home, and I still work for a company over in the States out in California. So he wanted to know if Aaron Rodgers can return to Cali anytime soon. That's not a short flight, but at least then I could go see him play. My answer would be, if he is going to go to Cali, he is going to do it not this coming year, but it would be the following. If they do not renegotiate this deal, if they do not tear up the contract and let's say start over, give him a 4-year contract or something like that, then yeah, any year you may see him with the Rams or with the 49ers or something like that. You may see him head out in that direction. But as of right now, no. Next season, the 2021 season, no, he's not going. So, but yeah, thanks for watching us in Hawaii. You know. What else do we have here? Live from Four Seasons Total Landscape. Bobby, I can see that. Speaking of the Four Seasons Island Resort, want to be doing that place soon too. By the way, they got some terrific snowmobile trails. Gary says, replying to Sam, I blame it on Rodgers, honestly, and inability to score in the red zone and capitalize on turnovers. Brady never had an abundance of offensive weapons, and he made it work. Whoa. Brady had weapons. Brady had some good weapons. So I wouldn't say he doesn't have weapons. He had good weapons. To say that he doesn't, nah. Jason says, glad to hear you back. Nancy says, hello. I bet you had quite the ride to get there. I did, Nancy, as a matter of fact. Travis, good to see you. Travis, good to see you too. I got one over here email-wise. And because I want to get a couple of emails in. This is from a Mark. Mark is watching us in Bowling Green, Kentucky. He says, hello from Bowling Green. By the way, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I'm sure you know this, Mark, but the home, if I'm not mistaken, of Corvette, of the Chevy Corvette. I believe. Could be mistaken, but I believe that's the home of the Corvette. So anyway, I digress. He says, what do you think of Aaron Rodgers wanting to stay in Green Bay? Even though they drafted Jordan Love, do you think that he wants to renegotiate his contract just to stick it to the organization and force their hand? No, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. Because if that was it, he would just say, you know what, trade me. Trade me. If you really wanted to stick it to the organization, say trade me. And become publicly angry about it. You got to understand, Aaron was a part of the Brett Favre back and forth. You know, he saw that circus. And I don't think he ever wanted to have that be him. So I think he's got respect for the organization and the fans. You know, I don't think he would just do something like that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think he would just do something. I think what he would genuinely want to do, renegotiate the deal, and then be able to have additional money to go out and either re-sign some of the guys if they're about to lose, or find some additional free agents that they can bring in on the cheap, because guys are going to get cut this season because the salary cap's going to go down. Bring in some of these guys on the cheap that really have a legitimate desire to win a championship. It's not just about the money anymore. They've either won their money or they've already won a Super Bowl and they want to come and get one more, or they want to come and play for a champion. And I think that's it. I really do. I don't. Aaron Rodgers plays with a chip on his shoulder, but I don't think that it's I'm going to stick it to the organization, that type of chip. I think it's more so if they think I'm done, I'm going to show them I'm not done. But that's not sticking it to the organization. That's bettering his legacy. And remember, he really cares about his legacy too. I don't think he wants his legacy marred by forcing himself out of Green Bay after only one championship and 4 failures in the NFC Championship. I think he wants to come back and win one more. He said years ago, and this might have been to a group of reporters. I just remember I was listening to a conversation. I think it was to a group of reporters, but he had said that he wants to go down as the greatest Packers quarterback ever. Now, he knows he's never going to pass the championships of Bart Starr. But if he wins a second Super Bowl, short of breaking the touchdown records and such, I mean, he's already got the efficiency rating. He'll have numerous MVPs. He's done all that. He just needs another Super Bowl. And that'll put him to that echelon championship-wise ahead of Favre. So, not to mention, if he plays 4 more years, he could possibly break some more records along the way. You know? So, I don't see him trying to force himself out and tarnish that legacy as a Green Bay Packer. I just don't. I would be kind of shocked. So let's see here. What else do we have? This one. This is from B-Rap. Says 2 cupcake regular seasons of 13-3 beat 2 teams with winning records, Titans and the Bears, and 2 teams ended up with winning records this season, the Saints and Titans. Rams without a quarterback, basically, and the best defensive player. That game was too much of a teaser going into the Bucs game. Woulda, shoulda, coulda happened to all these teams. Blame all 3 faces of the game and do not let off the hook the GM or the president. All in all, the better team won, period. Just like last year, regular season blowout, and the same in the NFC Championship game. Well, that's what I was saying. Was the one thing I remember, and I should remember from now on. I get caught up in the moment too, like many. That when a team physically dominates you in the regular season, chances are they're going to do it again in the postseason unless they've got depletion because of injuries. Physical doesn't go away. You know, if they out-scheme you, you know, if they hit a couple of big plays, you turn the ball over, those are things you can cure. But a physical team that rushes the passer, stops the run, punches you in the mouth, as they did with their size and speed, doesn't go away. So I should remember. But if Packers don't turn the ball over, I think it becomes a different contest. Packers turned the ball over this year, they've lost games. You know? But to say cupcake 13-3, no. Come on. Cupcake schedule is, you got an easy schedule. You go, 11-5 or whatever. Back-to-back 13-3 seasons, you earned that. They beat the hell out of Tennessee. That was the game everybody pointed to at the end of the season. Wow, now we're going to find out they're physical. And they did. You can only play the teams in front of you. You know? That's all you can do. So to say cupcake, that's taken away from what they did. You know, they beat playoff teams. They beat the LA Rams. I thought LA was going to give them a better game. I really did. LA's defense just didn't have that. I mean, that offensive line of the Green Bay Packers came together and played extremely well. But to diminish their season by saying cupcake, that's not right. That's not right. Let's see here. Greg said the audio is bad. You know what? I don't know. I don't know if the audio is bad or not. I don't know how it's bad. So you have to tell me. You have to let me know. This one says, Brett, the report was that Mason Hickley had shoulder. And that was the reason for the short kickoff, or was it more of a strategy? I would say it's probably strategy. Short kickoffs. If you can pin them into a corner and take away 5 yards here and there, you would love to see, put it this way too, you're also talking about kicking in the cold. It's not as easy to boot a football 10 yards out of the end zone when it's kicking a rock, you know? This one is from Bob. Bob writes real quick, said Aaron Rodgers and Kevin King both did not play well in that game. Give me your thoughts. I'm not going to say Rodgers didn't play well. I mean, he had a couple misses. He wasn't, and this is what we talked about a couple weeks ago. I said, look, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play Aaron Rodgers at 110 or better in the quarterback rating, chances are they're not going to win the game. I agree with that. But to say he didn't play well, no. He made some solid plays. I think, obviously, what people are looking at is he didn't run the ball into the end zone, or at the very least, make it a 4th and 1, 4th and 2 from the goal line, which would have been more feasible. You know what I mean? Okay, they're looking at that, saying he didn't take that opportunity. He did throw the pick. You know, he did throw a ball behind Devontae Adams, and Adams could have had a touchdown. Instead, he ends up falling to the ground. The ball falls incomplete. I understand all of that. But to say Rodgers didn't have a good game, I don't necessarily believe that. He didn't have the game that you would expect or hope for. That might be the best way to put it. Kevin King, bad. Craft game. Craft game. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. This one says, Bruce, my audio is fine here, by the way. Don't ask the pack coaches how to fix it. This one's from Scott Trade Aaron Jones to Houston for J.J. Watt. Aaron Jones is a free agent. You don't own him no more. Just an FYI. Just an FYI. Hey, and it's been great. And thanks, and keep everything coming, because I completely appreciate everything you guys and girls are sending. By the way, if you want to hit me up on email, it's right there at the bottom of the screen, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. And always enjoy, kind of hanging out with everybody. And don't forget, subscribe to us over on the YouTube channel. You can just simply go to youtube.com and look for Bill Michaels. And if you want to get in touch with Dwayne up here, I cover it all. That's the way to do so. We are broadcasting live from his showroom, basically, if you want to call it that. But it's the big warehouse where they do all the different work for all the different upholstery things that they do, whether it's leathers, whether it's upholstery, different colors, different patterns, boats, coverings, all that kind of stuff. They do it right here. Go to dwaynescoveritall.com. That's dwaynescoveritall.com. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Thanks to Bud Light and Bud Light Seltzer for being a part of the program. I'm not quite sure where we're going to be on Thursday. Going to be back in the Milwaukee area. We are going to be in a pub. Maybe do a little lunch at a pub somewhere. But I'll let you know here in the next probably 10 hours. Okay? Look for this in the next 10 hours on the Facebook page, and then I'll put out a notification on YouTube as well. But a couple of things. First and foremost, happy birthday, Mr. Baseball. Bob Uecker today. Bob Uecker turning, what is it, 87? Uecker's 87. Still kicking, still looking good, too. Good for Bob. That is tremendous. Still got the great tones, and still just love listening to Bob Uecker doing Brewers baseball. And hopefully this year, we are going to see a different baseball season with fans in the stands at some point. I'm excited about that. I'm really hoping. And to answer your question about being in Tampa and being at spring training, as of right now, no, I won't be in Tampa. And here's the reason why: is the NFL is not having a Radio Row this year. The NFL has basically kind of shut it down. Now, if individuals want to go to certain places and do their podcasts and do their television and do interviews and such, they're probably going to be able to do so and maybe cover the teams and show you some of the sights and sounds. But unless you have that activity of people continually walking through Radio Row and guest after guest after guest after guest coming on, it doesn't make a ton of sense financially. So we decided, myself, Mike Clemens, our girl Erica and such, we just decided not this year. Next year, we're going to be out in LA. Not only do they have a new stadium out there, but it's Hollywood, right? You would assume that LA and Hollywood is going to put on one hell of a show. And hopefully by then we wrap our arms around COVID. And whatever your belief, whatever your fear, whatever your non-factor fear is, hopefully we're back to normal as a society coming up next year. So we're about a year away from that. In spring training, they have not given us the direct parameters for spring training. Oh, there's a lot up in the air right now. I mean, I know pitchers and catchers are, wanting to get there, and you want to have a baseball season. There's still a lot of, kind of things to sort out. So no, we're not going to head out to Arizona this year, unfortunately. But I still want to be a part of opening day. I still, hopefully, there's fans in the stands. I don't think there will be. I don't think there's going to be a big tailgate. There's a lot of things we're still missing. We thought that when we flipped the calendar to 2021, it would happen. I don't think at this point in time last year we ever expected anything like this. As a matter of fact, I'll harken back to a year ago. And today is the day of the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death. And if you remember, in USA Today, which would have come out tomorrow, 1 year ago tomorrow, there was, the front page was Kobe Bryant dies in a helicopter crash. And in the little side column, there was a little story about something in Wuhan, China called COVID-19 and the possibility of a spread and a pandemic. And there was a prediction. And we all kind of went, yeah, right. It was like the Zika virus. They'll come out with a cure for that the minute we get it, right? And here we are, a year later, wearing masks, limitations on gatherings, bars and restaurants struggling to survive, retail shops have closed, gone by the wayside. We're working from home. We're doing Zoomcasts. We some of the things that we have now in our nomenclature, we never dreamed that we would have. You know, you wouldn't be dressing from here up to go to work every day. You know, you wouldn't be doing your laundry when you put your camera on mute. You know? So no, I hope that things get back to normal real soon, but and cross our fingers that it does. But yeah, it was a year ago today. We were standing in line in Miami. Myself, Mike Clemens, Erica, as we went in to get set up at the Miami Convention Center, and we were getting ready to set up for our show. And we were heading in, and all of a sudden you started to hear this rumbling on one line going in. Now we're in a tent. It's very warm. We're in a tent going into the Miami Convention Center, Miami Beach. One side of the line is media. And everybody's got their bags, their cases, their Pelican cases, their suitcases, their knapsacks, all that stuff, computers, camera equipment, audio equipment, whatever it happens to be. We're in one line. And then like volunteers and those waiting to get into the NFL fan experience, they're in another line, okay? And everybody has to go through security. We're all waiting to be screened. The media is going in because we're all going to Radio Row, where everybody else is getting ready, the volunteers and such. They're getting ready to go into the NFL fan experience. So our line is moving, right? And the other line is waiting because they have to wait until those gates open up. And as we kept passing people, you could hear, oh my God, oh my God. And you would see people, fans more so than media, but people openly crying, kids crying. And we were kind of talking, what are we missing here? And so I immediately opened my phone and I went to Twitter, and that's where you saw it, the headline. And I thought, this can't be right. And so I always go to Washington Post, LA Times, USA Today. I look for those headlines. And sure enough, there it was. Kobe Bryant dies in a helicopter crash. So 1 year ago today, that's where I was. And I think it's a moment in time. My mom and dad used to talk about, where were you when Kennedy was assassinated? You know, we remember those things. Where were you when you realized there was an attack on the towers in New York on 9/11? You know, and where were you when you heard that Kobe Bryant passed? If you're a sports fan, you remember that. That was a day that you'll never forget. To have a guy that's, just completed his career, rings, adored by many, went through his own trials and tribulations, and became likable again. And then you find out he dies not only did he die in a helicopter crash, but he dies with his daughter and another family going to a youth basketball tournament. So that was 1 year ago today. And then today, and I wanted to save this for last, but today they are memorializing Hank Aaron. And I'll never forget being a kid and watching Hank hit 714. I remember he was at Riverfront Stadium when he hit 713. And I remember listening to the call over and over again. I remember the two guys that ran out onto the field and were patting him on the back. And there was a fear because of what Hank went through, getting to break Babe Ruth's record. And years later, I think it was either 2000 or 2001, I had come to Wisconsin in 1999, okay? And I got a call. I was down at the auto show in downtown Milwaukee, and I got a call. A lady named Judy McGauran. She was the head of, when it came to putting events together for the Lombardi Foundation, the Lombardi Cancer Award Foundation. And so she called and she said, hey, she introduced herself, and I knew who she was. I mean, we kind of ran in some circles and seen many of the same people and such. But she said, hey, I got a request here from Bart Starr. Wow. I had been working with the Packers Radio Network at the time, doing a post-game show with Brian Noble. I had met Bart a couple of times. And she said, hey, Bart has hurt his back and cannot do this year's Lombardi Award of Excellence dinner ball. Would you consider doing it? Our co-host is Harry Smith. Now, Harry Smith was then from A&E And then Harry went on to become one of the co-anchors of the CBS Morning News. And so Harry had had a very storied career. And I'm like, I'm looking around to see if I'm being pranked. And I said, I would be honored. And she said, okay, I'm going to give a script over to you. Where are you at? And I told her. And she goes, okay, it's tomorrow night at the Pfister Hotel. And we need you there early because we have to go through a walkthrough, a rehearsal, if you will. I said, okay, great. I said, I didn't even ask who the honoree was. Okay. I said, oh my God, this is fantastic. So I get the script. I didn't even look at it. I took it home. I got up the next day early and I went to the Pfister. Okay. I was at the Pfister. I think I was supposed to be there at 4, but I had my tux. I had a room to change in, and I go upstairs and I sit down and I look at the script and it says the Vince Lombardi Award of Excellence being honored, being given to, and the person we are honoring is none other than Hank Aaron. Wow. I couldn't wait. So I get upstairs and there's Harry and Mike and Judy and all these other people. And so we start to go through our portion of the night. Okay. Because the honoree doesn't really have to come up. I mean, they know all they got to do is come up and give their speech. I mean, they don't have to go through everything else that we go through. But as we're sitting there, and I'm on the stage, and they're testing the lights, and I think it was Midland Video at the time was doing everything, and they're great people. And the light goes off, and I could see the doors in the back of the ballroom open up, and in walks Hank. And I'd always been a fan, and I'd gotten a chance to see him, meet him to say hello at a Brewers game the year prior when he went up to see Bob Uecker. But this was the first chance that I really had a chance to say hello and sit down. So I was going to be the one doing Bart Starr's part, and Harry Smith was going to be the one doing his part that he had been doing for years, which meant I got to be the one to present Hank Aaron with the award. And I was just in awe, So he walks in and his wife Billy is with him. And they sit at the table and they just wanted to see. They just wanted to watch things, And I got a chance to walk over and I said, Mr. Aaron, I met you last year, but my name's Bill Michaels. And it's such a pleasure and an honor. And he said, sit down. So I sat down and I started talking to him. And I was telling him about my experience watching him as a kid. And then it was almost in the beginning like an awkward conversation because his wife Billy was so protective of him, and I couldn't figure out why. I thought, man, is she not a nice woman, or just I didn't understand it. And then as we sat and talked, I got it. That man went through hell. All he wanted to do was play baseball. He was good at it. That's all he wanted to do, play baseball. And what happened was, along the way, was he got death threats and dolls with pins in them, dolls that had been set on fire. He had gotten just terrible letters, all kinds of stuff. And you then realize how protective she became of him because she never knew who was out to get him. And I'm not going to say it became a way of life, but it became a mechanism. When you meet people, if you're not in the inner circle and you don't know him, what do you want from him? Are you trying to be a friend? Are you reaching out? Are you kind? You're just going to be somebody that comes up and wants an autograph, but you don't really give a damn about the man. And so I got it. As I sat there, and God love him, he sat there with me for probably 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and just BS. Talked about his days playing in Milwaukee as a Brave. I told him I grew up as a kid in Cincinnati. He's like, oh, you got a chance to see the Big Red Machine. And talked about how great that team was. He was playing in Milwaukee in 75 and 76, and he was talking about, the likes of Pete Rose and Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan, Tony Perez, and he's talking about all these players. And watching those guys as he was this aging veteran, watching those guys hit their prime and how good they were, and how he was amazed at the ability for Pete Rose to hit 300 plus for so many years. The power behind the plate that Bench had. And I'm talking to him about the Braves, and my childhood story. I broke my hand diving for a foul ball in the front row of the green level section, which is the Loge level at Miller Park. But at Riverfront Stadium, I got my first chance to sit behind home plate, and it was a foul ball off of Bob Horner, who played third base for the Braves at the time. And I went to dive for it, and I went to catch it. And you could hear it coming through the air, and it broke my hand. And we're laughing. It was such an unbelievable conversation that didn't really revolve around his triumphs, his tribulations, his records. It was just stories. It was stories. I was asking them, so what are the best conversations you've ever had on the baseball field? He's talking about when him and Joe Morgan used to chat if he had a double. It was hard to understand Tony Perez at first base. He couldn't understand it. It was really cool to sit down and chat with him. And then when they closed down County Stadium, obviously, that whole day was just an amazing day. And I remember sitting upstairs with Fister and in walks Robin Young, Paul Mellor, Hank Aaron, Pleasant Thurston, Bart Starr. You start to get all these greats, and they're all talking. They're sharing these stories, and the stories are a little bit bigger, and the laughs are a little bit harder. The ball went a little bit farther. The hits were a little bit stiffer, The field was a little worse. There's a little bit of exaggeration, but it was so cool watching all of these guys interact. But Hank Aaron in this room, Robin and Paulie and Bart and all these guys, and in walks Hank. And it was like the Pope walked into the room to say mass. Hank Aaron was not only a terrific baseball player, and to me will always be the home run king. But to me, to get to know him and his wife Billy a little bit better was, I've always said, doing what I do, having done what I've done, I don't get a chance to sit back and really realize some of the things that I've had a chance and an opportunity to do, but sitting down and talking with Hank Aaron for about 35 minutes, and then standing on the stage and presenting him with the trophy for the Vince Lombardi Award of Excellence. If I die tomorrow, I've done it all. I've seen a team win a championship. I've been in the Final Four. I watched Ron Dane break the record. The Bucks numerous times into an Eastern Conference Final. Back to glory, back to prominence. I saw two unbelievable arenas and/or stadiums torn down and new ones built in their place. I saw the renovation of Lambeau Field. I saw Brett Favre play his last game there. I've seen greatness in Aaron Rodgers. I've tracked Super Bowls. I've done many different things in my life, but sitting down and chatting with Hank Aaron was unbelievable. So today, Hank is going to be thought of highly by many, spoken about highly by many, and deservedly so. He passes on. But that's the way I wanted to end it today, because I had that terrific story, and I wanted to share that opportunity. So you guys, wanted to share that opportunity with you guys, just because I thought it was perfect. So anyway, that being said, as we look around, that is, by the way, the view of what I'm looking at, so you can see what I'm looking at, which is Dwayne's covered it all here in Wausau. They've got upholsteries and cloths and foam padding and backing and all that kind of stuff all throughout this place. It's such a neat venue. But thanks to Dwayne for having me here, and I certainly appreciate it. Thanks to our friends at Bud Light Seltzer. Obviously, Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably good with all the different flavors you see right there: strawberry, mango, lemon lime, cranberry, going on and on and on. And then our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the program. Also, thanks to our friends over there at Quick Trip. I'm going to stop out on the way back. As a matter of fact, back in the Milwaukee area, because not only do I need to get gas and put some more weight in the back of the car, but I'm hungry. So I'm going to get something to eat there, and probably a cup of the Karuba, and begin to head home. And one more time, I want to let you take a look around. Wayne's covered all his place here. Obviously, those are some of the padded backs to some of these chairs that we're building. Here's his buddy Gus, his longtime companion, his good friend here. That is my boat. I trust him because I bring my boat here. I'm getting a new vanity top put on. I'm getting a new vanity top, travel cover, new carpeting on the inside. The boat runs great. This is another panoramic view of the shop. Here, Dwayne's covered it all, and also that's Dwayne and a dark shirt back there in the middle. And it's just a three-man shop, but they get a ton of work done. So, and as you see here, they're taking off some of the old fabric off of the chairs that they're fixing. And again, yes, if you want to get a hold of them up here, easy way to do so. All you got to do is go to Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That's Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com, and you can see for yourself all the good things that they do. So anyway. But it's always fun to do these, and I'm so glad that you get a chance to pay attention. I'm so glad that you chime in and hang out and spend a little bit of your day with me, because it does. It really does mean a lot. So for everybody that gets involved with the program, our terrific sponsors, again, Stenny's, our good friends down there in Milwaukee. You can't say thanks enough to our friends at Joe Hennis and everybody out there at Sloppy Joe's. Say hi to Ryan and the gang. We might even be at Ryan's place. That's one of the places I'm thinking of for maybe Thursday. With Ryan and the gang out at Philly's Waterfront Pub and Grill. Our friends from Epoxy Flooring Done Right. And I'll tell you what, maybe I'll do another video downstairs in my gym. Everybody that comes to my house loves the gym and loves the floor. So EpoxyFlooringDoneRight.com. That's EpoxyFlooringDoneRight.com. But thanks to Quick Trip, thanks to Bud Light, and thanks to all of you for listening as well. We can't obviously do this without you, but we certainly appreciate you hanging out with us, and thanks for being here, so to speak. So anyway, that being said, it is time for us to go, and hopefully you have a terrific day. And again, we're going to do this on Thursday. That's going to be the next time we do it again on Thursday. So if you get an opportunity to, please go ahead and check us out on Thursday, as we're going to be doing this again, talking about Packers football. We'll talk some more topics as well, whatever happens to come up, whatever's topical. We will want to get back into a little bit more of the chatter regarding the Super Bowl, which is coming up a week from Sunday. And we're going to have a couple of broadcasts regarding that. And I believe we're going to have a special guest also coming up on Thursday. So that's what they call a tease, right? Okay. So that being said, it's time for us to go. So it's been great hanging out here with all of you, and keep it coming if you want to continually hit me up. Plenty of ways to do so. And again, remember, you can find me, and it's right there on the page, VitoMichaels@gmail.com, VitoMichaels@gmail.com. Please subscribe to us over on the YouTube channel. Okay, please keep hitting up the YouTube channel. Go to YouTube.com. Just look for Bill Michaels. You can find it there. This video, among others, other live videos have been posted there. Excuse me. You can go there and see some of them and track us down. But thanks to everybody for being involved in the program. Thanks to you for paying attention to us. And look, I really, really do appreciate all of you. You've been great to me. I'm so glad to see many of you say hello, and if you missed the show and missed me coming back and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to have an announcement soon. Okay. All right. Time for us to go.